Thank you so much for signing up for the Daily Routine Workshop. Before I go on and share the recording, I just want to give you the link so that you can get Tidy Tutor University at half price and find out all that you need to know about it. So go to go.thetidytutor.com/TTU50. TTU50 is also the coupon code that you put in so that you will get TTU at half price. Okay, see you on the inside. There I am. Hi. Okay. So if anybody doesn't know how this works, we've got a lot of guys. I'm so happy. Okay. I'm going to make sure it is recording. All right. Great. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, which is right here. And let me find it. There it is. All right. And all right. So we're going to do our new daily routine. Now, for some of you, it's not a new daily routine. It is a daily routine that you're just starting right now, that you don't have a daily routine. For a lot of you, though, you've been following me for a while and you do have a daily routine, and daily routines are made to revamp on the regular. So daily routines have to be done on the regular because life changes regularly. Regularly, things just happen in life. Sometimes they're really good things, sometimes they're devastating things, sometimes it's just a job change, a retirement, you had a baby, you moved, you are moving. Like there's always, and then usually say it's something like you are moving, then probably when you get settled again, you'll go back to your old daily routine. Okay. Usually what happens with us organizationally challenged people is we're so used to taking the blame for things. We're so used to saying, like, oh, you know, what's wrong with me? How come I never get it right? Whereas organizationally gifted people, they just don't do that. They don't. If something is off kilter in their lives, they never look within. They always look without and they say, I wonder what's changed. And then they see what's changed and they make the adjustment. All right. And so that's what we're doing here. This is a perfect time to like create a whole new daily routine. And even if you find that your new daily routine is almost exactly the way your old one was, if you're somebody that's been with me for a while, you're part of TTU, you have a daily routine, it's still going to feel good to freshen it, to feel like, okay, like, you'll take a deep breath, you'll look at it and you say, all right, it's all as it should be. Maybe you'll just make a little tweak or something, but it's really nice to take like that CEO day of your life and just step back for a second and revamp. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen again. So you can see my screen, I'm assuming, right? We're going to get right into it, all right? Here is the list. Now, this is a workshop, okay? By workshop, what I mean by that is we're doing this. We're doing this together right now. This isn't something that I want you to be like, oh, good, I watched it, and tomorrow I'm going to really dig into this. We're doing this now. That's why I called it a workshop, okay? And another thing that I did on purpose was I did not share printables. This time, right now, there might be people without a printer who, like me, I'll go somewhere, I'll go to Staples, I'll go to the library, I'll go to UPS store, and I'll either have them printed out for me, or I'll just go to the library and print them out for myself. So everything's closed now. I can't do that. And so, maybe you don't have any ink and you just can't get out to get the ink. We're doing this old school, all right? Now, if you want to, you can do this on a computer. You could do this on an app. There is Trello. I know Trello has a checklist. You can use Trello if you want to. If this is something that you're familiar with, that kind of thing, then go for it. But one thing that I think is really important, even if you're going to use an app or your phone or put it in a spreadsheet on your computer, do it with pen and paper at first, okay? Do it with pen and paper first. So you see the list that's right there on your screen, right? It has phase 1 morning, phase 2 morning, phase 1 evening, and phase 2 evening. And I have it kind of color coded as yellow and blue. So now you can use just a piece of paper, right? Or you can use 3x5 cards, okay? And you can use them as all just white ones, or you can use it with a yellow one and a blue one. But or, blue ones for like the color code. So this is what I want you to do now. This doesn't have to be your order, okay? But it is something, it is all the things that you've got to get going on in your day, all right? You have to get up on time. And when I say up on time, what I mean is you have to choose a time to wake up, all right? You got to choose a time to wake up and make sure it happens every day. One of the best things you can do is set your alarm outside of your room and make it that you have your phone where it's just unavailable until a certain time in the morning. It sucks time away like nobody's business. I know that my daughter Emily has it so that her phone is inaccessible, like any of the apps or anything that she wants to do other than text messaging or receiving a phone call, it's not available until I think she has like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or something like that. So we can do that. We can make that happen for us. I want you to write these things down. Up on the phase 1 things are the things that are getting done like before you leave the bedroom. It's kind of like all of your grooming kind of things that you're doing. The phase 2 things are the things that happen once you leave the bedroom, the bathroom. You're kind of like moving on with your morning. You're in the kitchen, basically, okay? And then the phase 1 evening, there's 2 different sections of the phase 1 and phase 2, and we'll talk about them a little bit at a time. So what I'm hoping that you're doing right now, because nobody's unmuting themselves, so let me know. What I'm hoping you're doing right now is you are writing these things down. Now, you don't have to, or you shouldn't even be writing them down in order right now. Just write them down and take a look, like write them down as you're thinking what order they might be in. Now, when you first do a morning routine, you're going to most likely scribble on the paper because it takes a little while to determine what order things are better in. I like having things out where I could see them. So while I do believe we should have them in the binder, anybody that here that's not part of Tidy Tutor University, then you don't have a binder. And that's okay. We could talk about that later. If you want to be part of TTU, I'm there for you. But if all you want right now is a daily routine, right? Then you want to have it so that it's in different sections so that you'll be in control of what's going on when, right? And you want to have it out in the open where you can see it. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Somebody unmute yourselves for me and let me know how you're doing and what you're doing right now. Are you writing these things down? When you first get your daily routine started, you might say like, say you have it in order of up on time, drink water, clothes in dryer, make bed, and then you're like, no, I make bed before I go down to get the clothes in the dryer. Now, I'll talk about that for a little bit too as you're working, okay? Because you want to be working, right? This is a workshop. When we're done with this, I want you to have your daily routine done. We do something called, like it's the way we do laundry. We do our laundry we put in a load before bed. And then when we wake up in the morning, the very first thing we do is we put it in the dryer. And then this way, as we're getting the rest of our daily routine, rest of our morning routine done, the clothes are they're drying for us. And when we're ready, we can take them out of the dryer. And honestly, it feels like if you're somebody that does your laundry, like say every Saturday, you're going to feel like you have 8 days a week now, because it really does take a whole day. It gives you a whole day back. And anybody here that has done this can definitely vouch for how amazing this is to get your laundry done this way. And so that's why it says clothes in dryer, because you have put your clothes in the washer the night before, right?
And then Kathy?
Yes.
Sorry, and then that's great, but what about for those of us in apartments
That you have
that we have to use a laundromat?
Yes, well, I have that covered.
Okay.
What you do for using a laundromat, if you can afford it, what I have found out is that it's not that much different to take your clothes, drop them off, and pick them up. Like
Well, we don't have that feature in ours. You have to do it yourself.
So you just determine when that's going to be, and then you just plug it into your week.
One thing that's really, really helpful is not having too many clothes. Like get yourself like a uniform. You know how Steve Jobs always wore a black T-shirt, and what's his name does it? What's his name? Simon Cowell does that too. Like make it that like men are really good with that. Women, we have to go out, we get dressed, we have something different each time. They wear the same suit, they change their tie. You know, so we can kind of take their like a kind of like a lesson from them, and narrow down what you're going to wear. Figure out what you wear on the regular basis, because things that you wear in your dresser, like when you go in your dresser in your closet, they're the same things over and over again, right? We usually only wear the top layer of what we have. So making that a priority to de-junk your clothes and only have what you need will make a huge, huge difference with that. So that's my best advice I can give with that. If anybody's here that can drop off their clothes, then that's just an insanely wonderful thing that you could do. And if you calculate how much it costs to feed the machine, get the soap, put it in your time and all of that, you'll see that it really isn't that much more to have them dropped off. So what I used to do when I dropped them off was I would wash my own jeans and blankets and sheets, because they're heavier, because it goes by the pound. They're heavier, and they can be done in a very short period of time. You can basically have just like a couple of machines going, put them in one dryer, get them done, you're done. And then all the stuff that's tedious and takes longer, you get them to do for you. Okay, so there's that. Now, when you make the list and you discover that you want to do things in a different order, then all you want to do is make a note on that. Like say the first week or 3 days or something like that, you're going to not use the page protector. All right. Now, if you don't have page protectors, you want to get them. Now, the ones you get from like Dollar Tree, the dollar store, they're super flimsy. They work, but you really are just better off going to like Staples or something and getting them, because you end up having to replace them. And I have the same page protectors. I have the same page protectors in my binder for years, but the ones that I got from the Dollar Tree, I had to replace them. So there's that. All right. Now the reason that you want to have page protector, like I said, is because you want to be able to cross off. Okay. Now, if you have kids, this is great to do for kids. Make a routine for them. And then what I like to do is I have one in their bedroom, one in the kitchen. And I'm finding that it's really great for me too. That when I see, we have a binder. So if you carry your binder with you, then it's not that big of a deal. But if you find that, like I like to keep my binder by my desk. I like having it there. So having a separate set of routine in my kitchen, one in the bedroom / living room, bathroom, or in the kitchen. You can put it behind a door, a closet door, or behind a cabinet door in your kitchen. So you don't have to see it. It works marvelously. Anybody here that's a veteran and has done this, I'd love for you to chime in and let me know what works best for you, because like we're all different. So we're making the list, right? We're making the list.
I'll comment, Kathy.
Go ahead.
So I thought I was being really smart laminating my list, and
Uh-huh.
found out that I needed to totally change it. So one thing I found was looking at the things that were not working. Like I wouldn't take my medication because it was on the kitchen table, but if I didn't sit down for breakfast, I wasn't taking it. So I moved it into the bedroom. So it was part of my routine, is that I do this first thing in the morning. And now I don't even need to look at the list for when I get up, because my bed is made the second I get out of bed. My things are put away. Everything is done out of routine, just because you have to just revamp it until it becomes just so smooth that you do one, then another, and it just flows. So don't be afraid to change it to suit what works for you, and move things around until it's like a natural flow.
Yes.
Of you do this and this and this and this. And, as you're working your way out of the bedroom, then you do, these things in the bathroom, then you do these things in the kitchen, and it becomes a natural order. So, I mean, it
Yep.
really, really works. But you've got to start by making the list and looking at the list and checking things off, and then revamping and saying, well, that doesn't fit here. We need to move it around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. honestly. So you heard it from the horse's mouth there, because Janet's been doing this for a while now. And when you, exactly like what I just said about the, you know, changing the order around in the beginning, you're not going to want to put them in your page protector, because you're going to want to take note. You're going to want to maybe put, maybe you're the type that would want to put numbers next to them, 1, 3, 4, 2, so that you see, oh, this works better that way, or arrows. Or maybe you just want to like have it where you'll write it over next to it. And then, yeah, it'll look a little sloppy at first, but that's okay, because you're figuring out how it works best. And something that Jan said that is like, was just really, really valuable, was that she noticed that it wasn't working to have it where she would take her where she would take her medication at a different time, because by that time, if she wasn't sitting down to have breakfast, she didn't take them. So she moved them to the bedroom. See? So a lot of things are going to like be aha moments as you go with this. And something that I want to make sure that I share about this is how really, really important this is, and how it actually generates happy. It doesn't only help us to be more productive and feel like we have more control over our days and get all the things done that need to get done. That's super important. But it also generates happy in our lives. And remember, there's going to be some things that you need to do that aren't on here. Like maybe you have little kids and you have to make them lunch. Maybe you have to make yourself lunch. Maybe you have dogs or a cat and you have to let the cat out or change the cat litter or feed the cat, make sure the cat has water, make sure the dog has water, let the dog out, take the dog for a walk. Like there's things that you'll have to add. Don't feel overwhelmed when you look at this, because you're doing it all anyway. But most of the time what you're doing is you're doing it when it's crunch time. And that's why it feels overwhelming most of the time, because when we let things go a little bit at a time, before you know it, all of those things are piled up at the end. And something that should have taken just 2 or 3 minutes is now taking 2 or 3 hours, because we have all of those 2 or 3 minute things on top of each other. And most of the time, something that would have taken 2 or 3 minutes now takes 4 or 5 minutes instead, or 7 or 8 minutes, because we left it there. So whatever it was that we didn't wash, now it's crusted on. It's not like you could just wipe it off in your dish or your mug. Now you have to scrub it. You have to soak it. See what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to look at this, because there's a book called Stumbling on Happiness. And I'm assuming that you can see the list, right? You can see the list that I have on the screen, because if I'm looking at something else, you still should be able to see the list, because I've only chosen that you could see that particular thing. So
Yep, I can see the list, yes.
okay, great. Thanks so much for saying so. Okay, thanks. All right, so what you're doing while I'm reading this is you're writing these things down. You're putting them in the order that you feel like they should go in, right? It's even a good idea to name it phase 1 morning, phase 2 morning. It's okay if you want to put all of phase 1 morning on a yellow index card, all of phase 2 morning on a yellow index card, all of phase 1 evening on a blue index card, and phase 2 evening on a blue index card, or you can have them on one piece of paper. You see, what you'll figure out as you go is what works best for you. And it is kind of fun. It's kind of fun figuring it out as you go, to being like, well, you know what? I want it all on one page, and I want two exact pages, one for my bedroom, one for the kitchen. Or I want it in separate things. You see what I mean? You won't know until you work it. And then when you figure it out, you'll feel so good, it'll just like click. Like Jan said, it just eventually just clicks. But it takes a little time to figure out what will work best for you. All right, so as you're doing what you're doing, I'm gonna read a few things that I took some notes from a book called Stumbling on Happiness. Now, this book, actually, I didn't love the book to read it. It was a little, for me, it was a little dryish, but it had so much valuable information in it that I made myself finish it. So one of the things that I have 1, 2, 3, 4 points that I'm going to say first, that I'm going to talk about, and I'll read each one. What makes humans different from every other animal is that they think about their future. The frontal lobe is responsible for planning and anxiety, 2 key future-oriented functions. Now, I want you to think about that when you're thinking about a daily routine, because it's planning. Having a daily routine is planning. And so when we have a plan, anxiety lessens because we feel like we have control over it. We have a step up for it. Here's another point. One of the central needs of humans is to control things. Enacting control over your own life is a source of pleasure. Having a daily routine in your life actually is that. It actually is enacting control over your life, which instigates pleasure. Like there's these endorphins that get like fired in our brain. It's why if you listen to a song that was a wonderful time when you were growing up, you get that automatic feeling. It's almost like a drug that happens, and it's because it's a literal chemical that gets fired in your brain. And so this is something that we're doing to set ourselves up to be in that position. You can't beat that with a stick. Now, the last note I want to say from that book, Stumbling on Happiness, is if we don't have the opportunity to predict our future, it is more scary than if we can predict a bad future. And I know that sounds like a little confusing, so I'll just explain it a tiny bit, and I hope I am able to explain it. There was something that they did that was called a variable shock study. And I know some of you have heard me talk about this before, where they had two groups of people and they told them that they were going to give them electric shock. And one group of people received a very mild electric shock, and another group of people received a shock that was more painful than the other. Well, the one that had the more painful shock, they were told when the shock was coming. So they would know shock is coming, bam, shock is coming. Bam, they knew it was coming. The other people who had very mild, a very mild, pain, something for that shock, right? Pain feeling for that shock. They weren't told when. They were just there. They just knew it was going to happen. And when they pulled them afterwards and asked them how severe the pain was, the people that didn't know when it was coming said the pain was much greater than the people that actually had the greater pain said. And it was because it was predictable. They knew it was coming. And this is something that happens for us when we have a daily routine. Now, I want to share something about that happened to me when I was in Florida, living in a life that I was really, really unhappy about, all revolving around my daily routine. All right, so I'm going to share the screen again so that you can see the list, and hopefully what you're doing is you are making yourself a daily routine. All right, when this is over, I want you to have it. All right, doesn't mean that it's not something you're going to tweak. It's not something you're going to maybe change around a little bit. All right, but you're going to have it so that before bed tonight, depending on where you are in the world, because right here it's early afternoon, you're going to be able to start it wherever you are right now. All right, now some of you are going to see things on here that you've never seen before, such as zone work and checking your weekly plan, and that's because it's part of TTU, the system that we have. Okay, so I can explain that when it's done. You can either leave it blank because you'll want to add it once I explain it, or you'll want to take it out. All right, it's totally up to you. Okay, so what happened to me years ago? All right, I was pregnant with my 5th child, and nobody knew it but me, not even my husband. I didn't tell anybody. I was about 3 or 4 months pregnant. Maybe 5, 3 or 4. No, 5 months is when I told him. We moved to Florida. I moved about 1,200 miles from everybody that I loved, all of my family. I never lived far away from them before. My father, I was very, very close to my father. I had no mothers, so there wasn't a mother to talk about right now. It was just my father. I mean, I had a big family, but leaving him was difficult for me. But I did. We lived in my father-in-law's house because my mother-in-law had just passed away, and it was a very emotional move. And I was really miserable. I didn't know I was going to be so miserable. It took a little while for me to realize how miserable I was going to be. But before you knew it, I was miserable. I didn't want to be there anymore. I missed my family. I was unhappy. We only had one car. I didn't like Florida. I was really lonely. Finances were difficult. Our living situation wasn't great. And I didn't want to tell anybody I was pregnant because I felt like I had no business being pregnant. like, what the heck? What was I doing? You know? So here's what happened. I was watching QVC, and Pam Young and Peggy Jones were on the screen, and they were selling their system. You know, their system is what what had gotten me started. So I'm saying, well, I really don't need that. And I had been organized for about, let's see, maybe 3 or 4 years now, I think, maybe about 4 years now. I had been organized by this time, and the house ran like a clock. Like, I didn't even have to look at my routines anymore. Everything just got done. I knew my kids had their routine, dinner time cleanup, laundry always going, house was always ready for company. Once you get in a groove, you really get good at it. It does become a habit. It really is just a learned skill, and once you learn it, you got it. So I was watching their show, and I thought, you know what, let me order that. And I ordered it. And it was like a already made card box, because back then you did the system in a card box. And I started filing the cards and doing the routine. And one of the things they said to do, which they never said to do before, was rate your day. So 1 was like you were strapped to the blades of a Cuisinart, and 10 was like you just won the lottery, and 5 was like you were just there, like drapes hanging in the Motel 6 is how they put it. Like, you're just there. So at first, I would rate my day. When I started this, I had all my routine going on, and even though I did it automatically, now I was doing it by looking at it, by seeing my routine, by seeing my zones and seeing my weekly plan. I wasn't doing it just in my head anymore. And so I would rate my day. The first day, it was a 1, sometimes a -1, sometimes a 0. After about 2-3 days, it started getting a little better. By the time I was 2 weeks out, I was having 7, 8s, and 9s. Like, there was a week, and I'm like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, what has changed? What in God's name has changed? I still had the same husband. I was still living in the same house. I was still far away from my family. I was still lonely. We still had the same socioeconomic situation. I still only had 1 car. I still didn't tell him I was having a baby. Like, all of these things were the reality, yet everything had changed. And I was always wondering, like, what happened there? And I used to think it was because I said, you know, it was a boundary issue. I said, well, you know what, without the things that I had concrete to look at, I felt like I was kind of like in the middle of the ocean with like on a raft in the middle of the ocean. I needed the boundaries, I felt like. But once I learned what I learned from that book, Stumbling on Happiness, I realized what it actually was. With the daily routine and with me being able to tick things off literally, I gained a sense of control over my day and life. When we get a sense of control over things, happy happens. Happy just comes. And I have seen this happen for me time and time again, because you'll find this, just like Jan said, there's going to come a time when you don't have to look anymore. It just happens. When you start to feel like you're a little out of control, you're a little unhappy, things aren't quite right, go back to your routine. Go back and look at it. I have a friend who's an Asperger's physician, and we hooked up one day after several years, probably about 20 years. We hooked up. I just happened to see her while I was at the beach, and she lived at the beach, and I was there on vacation. So she said, you know, what do you do? You know, the normal questions people ask. And I said, well, this is what I do. I help people get organized. And she said, oh, you're a personal organizer? I said, oh, no, I'm not a personal organizer. And I explained what I did. You know, I taught a class. I helped them, people who were more right brain than left brain. And so after a little while, she said, you speak my people's language. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. So her people are Asperger's patients. And she said, a lot of Asperger's patients don't have their left brain isn't as hooked up as it should be. And that's the case with most people. Most people are either predominantly right-brained or left-brained. So she said, so what you're doing for the right-brained person is you're giving them on the outside what they lack on the inside, because we're more motivated by happy and fun, and we're spontaneous. Left-brain people they're more rigid, they're more uniform, they're more structured, they're able to break things down, whereas when we see things, we see them as a big clump of yarn all mixed up together, and it can't be broken down. So that's another reason why, when we have our daily routine and we look at it, it makes us happier. It makes us feel like we're in control. So that's another side effect to this. Not only does it help you to achieve your goals, to not have your day get like sucked through a sieve and you're like, what happened to my day? What happened to everything that I wanted to do? Because when you have this, that doesn't happen. You just have to mind it. That's the thing that's super important, is that you have to pay attention to it. It's real easy to think, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, I could do that later. Oh, what's the big deal? Because a lot of times we think that the work we've got to do at home isn't a big deal, but the organizationally gifted people know that it is, and they do take it seriously. And if somebody asks them, hey, can you come to lunch with me? Can you help me with this project? Can you bake 50,000 cookies for church tomorrow? They say, I have to look at my calendar first. Whereas we, a lot of times, what we'll do, well, before TTU anyway, before you learned, oh, this is how I tick, you know, because we don't get it. Once you get it, then you're like, I have to check my calendar. And then we don't feel bad about that. And if somebody asks you to do something today and they need it tomorrow, you know that they had this available to ask you a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Things aren't planned a day ahead unless it's an emergency. They put it off. You don't have to be everybody's, you know, savior. It's okay to say no. You don't have to feel guilty about that. And all of that is part of TTU system as well. So I'm going to check in with you guys, and I'm going to see how you are doing. How's everybody doing? How are you with your routine? How far ahead are you? Are you writing it out? I want to hear from you guys when we need to move on with some other things. And for me, I'll go on to the questions. Anybody have any problems with, say, dinner time cleanup? You know, there's certain things that you could put into place so that you're not the one doing everything, because you can't be, you shouldn't be. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you should not be the one that does everything. It's never been like that in the history of the world, and it's kind of messed up that we have it that way now. Let's see, I'm gonna look at the comments. All right, okay, let's see. I have used a small photo album for smaller lists, and you could put 3x5 cards in those. Handier than a large binder. You know, that's really, really great, Lisa. I have done that before. When I did live classes, I did that at a couple of live classes. And the only reason I didn't continue with it is because the majority of people weren't crazy about it, because most of them said they misplaced that little thing all the time. So that's the main reason that I haven't always suggested it. If you have your like in stone routine, because if it's in a binder, I mean, if it's in a page protector and you could have it somewhere, if you have it somewhere out in the open, you could just have it taped to a wall. We actually have it in a picture frame for my granddaughter, and you can write on the glass. You can cross off the glass. So that's another option that you could go with your daily routine, and you could put it somewhere where it's seen and you don't mind it, or you could put it behind something. But thanks for the suggestion. If that works for anybody, then, you know, check it out. It's a good idea, because the little picture frame, I mean, the little picture albums have already the page protector things in there. Because, you know, if you're a spreadsheet person, after you get this all done, you could put it in a spreadsheet and print it out. You know, that's cool. Just please, please, please don't over perfect it, okay? Sometimes we perfect ourselves into like inactivity. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. Remember, we're not after perfect, we're after happy. Phone totally sidetracked me. Yeah, phone totally sidetracks me. Yeah, it's really, really important that we are our own mommy, and that we don't allow all these outside things to suck up our time. All right, Marcy said, hi, Kathy. So I have a bad back, and if you do bathroom swish shortly after getting up, it hurts my back, and that can last all day. What do you think of switching that to my phase 1 evening? That's great. If you want to take a shit anytime, it's just the most convenient thing to do the bathroom swish right out of the shower when you're still naked. It's just the easiest thing. But you can adjust it any way you can. If you're going to take a shower in the evening, that's when you'll do your bathroom swish in the evening. So you would just now, instead of having your up on time, get dressed and shower. See, because it doesn't have to be shower. if you're showering at night, or maybe you skip a day and you don't shower every day, but you want to make sure that you get dressed every morning, even if you're going to the gym, you know, even if you're going to work out at home. Like, don't work out in your pajamas. Give your life the dignity that it deserves, because all of your actions are going to mirror how you're treating yourself. So you get up, you get in your workout stuff, put your hair in a ponytail, splash some water on your face, and then do your workout. Or if you go to the gym, whatever it is, right? And then you get yourself ready from there, okay? And if you're gonna stay in your workout stuff all day, because there's people that like actually don't work out, but they get into their activewear, who cares, right? You wanna make your day move ahead like you have a job. Like it's, you know, like not like you're getting up. Even if you work from home, it matters. And this is part of TTU too. I talk about something called the power of the situation, where they have put people in uniform to do a test pilot or something, or a test run somewhere, that, you know, like maybe a policeman or an airline pilot. They put them in uniform, and they perform so much better than when they just tell them to come in their regular clothes and do the same procedures. It really matters. It matters how we feel. It matters how we behave. So you want to get yourself ready in the morning, even if it's not showering. You're going to want to do that. So yeah, you're going to want your bathroom swish to be done at least once a day. All right. And if you do the Counting Mississippi things, it's under 2 minutes. Sometimes it's 3. All right. Marcy said, oh no. Shirley said, Marcy, your something fluid needs to be warmed up in the morning. So drink water. Oh, Shirley is a fitness instructor. And so she's actually really qualified to answer this, to talk about this. Your, I can't even say the word, synovial fluid needs to be warmed up in the morning. So drink water and do your gentle stretches first thing to get going. Beautiful. Okay, Audrey said Johnny Cash, the man in black, always wears the same thing. Very true. Wait, I need a drink of water. Sorry. And yes, it's in this big thing.
Kathy, can I just add something to what you said about the routine?
Yep.
Okay, so one of the things, I've worked from home for quite a long time, and I know a lot of people are just getting used to working from home or being at home.
Right.
One of the things that's huge for me is to set a start time. I have a set start time every day by 9:30. Yes. I have to be sitting down at my desk, ready to go, my computer warmed up, dressed, everything. And I think that's huge for people, because you can stretch your morning routine out till 11, 12, whatever, but you really have to, like Kathy always says, be your own mommy, and set a time and stick with that time every day. Because
absolutely
your routine.
Yes.
For me, I get up at different times because I like to get up when I wake up. But if I sleep in, I gotta speed through my morning routine and get started at the same time. So yeah, that for me has really, really helped me.
Yeah, I'm really, really glad you mentioned that, because now more than ever, you know, people are home. And yeah, and you can't let things just drag on. That's really great. And just like what we talk about in TTU, which is like you get up a half an hour before you actually have to. So if your feet hit the floor at 7 a.m. and you need to be ready by say 7:30 a.m., then you're going to want it. You don't want that half hour. It takes you just a half hour. You want to make sure you have a half hour longer than that, so that you have that grace period. So you want to wake up at 6:30. You're not going to miss that 30 minutes of sleep. You're not going to miss it. And then, yeah, wonderful, wonderful advice. You have a set time and also an end time. That's so important too. Like we can, I know a lot of us anyway, can just work and work and work and work. There has to be an end time to your day too. Super important. So thanks a lot, Jen. You're the best.
One other quick thing too is I also schedule in breaks, like 11 o'clock. I have dogs. 11 o'clock, my dogs have to go out for pee. 2 o'clock, my dogs have to go out for a walk. And it doesn't always happen at those times, but you know, for sure my dogs will remind me if I'm working too long. So just because you're working from home doesn't mean, you know, no breaks. You must get up and take breaks. Whatever you're doing at home, make sure you schedule in your coffee break, your lunch break. Don't eat at your desk. That schedule is even more important right now.
So important. You're absolutely right. Like it's like a schedule for my day. Like I have a Monday routine for work. I have a Tuesday routine for work. I have a Wednesday routine for work. So that this way I know what am I focusing on. But you know, we can't actually do every single thing in a one shot workshop. This is the basics that are the most necessary, really, the most necessary things to do. And then all of those other things, they get added as we live our life. And like Jen was saying, because she had something in place, she was able to see, oh, I need to do this. Oh, I need to add that. But when we're kind of like running on empty, then that everything we think, that's what we think about everything. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to. So we don't even realize that some of those things that we say, oh, I need to do this, is an actual thing that we need to incorporate, because the basics are not set. And that's what we want to make sure that we do. We want to make sure that we do the basics. And if anybody has any questions about like dinner time routine, delegating, laundry, I don't know, anything, what's a morning ritual kind of thing, anything, to let me know what you have any questions about. Okay, let's see. Okay, can I switch some items from phase 2 to phase 1? For example, can I do my morning exercise ritual and make tea, breakfast before? Yes, all of this is interchangeable. That's mine, right? What I showed you is what I do. That's what I do. But all of the things on the list are all things that need to get done. There's nothing on there that anybody could say, well, I mean, you don't have to do a morning ritual, of course. You can say, no, I don't need to do that. I'm not doing that. Sitting with coffee, like just that, what that means is that you're going to just sit, you know, like give yourself some time. Another thing too is the one like where it's the evening routine. Let's see, where it says phase 1 evening. Generally what that is like in between the morning and the evening is a chunk of time. And normally it's either you're at home, retired, home, working, home, homemaking, being a homemaker, and there are things to do all in between that time, and you're going to be doing them. Once that time is up, well, now it's time to change your hat. And that's what I was trying to get at before. It's time to change your hat. Changing your hat from I was this and now I'm this. And whether it is that you just got home from work, you just stopped your at-home work today, you stopped your homemaking, mommying for now, because now it's time to start thinking about dinner or whatever. Sit down and take 5 minutes. Now, I used to take an hour. I used to take an hour every day when I homeschooled. And I did this, it was when Oprah was on at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., something like that. I don't remember exactly what time it was, but she was on television for an hour. And I went up to the room that was on the second floor, and I sat down, I closed the door, I had on the TV, and everybody knew, leave me alone for an hour. Now, of course, you don't have to take an hour. I was able to do that. My kids were all bigger. I could do it, and I did, right? I'm saying take 5 minutes. Don't rush from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. Take some time. Take a deep breath. A lot of times anxiety comes on us simply because we're just not taking care of ourselves. The animals out there in the world, they know what to do. They relax when they gotta relax. They run when they're afraid. When the fear goes away, they start grazing again. They have that inner something that, you know, we kind of lost because we think too much. So make sure you have that set, okay? Take some time, drink some water. I talk about drinking water a lot because we are like, what is it, 75% water or something like that? I'm sure that Shirley will correct me. We're like 70-something% water. We need water. We need to drink what we are mostly made of. It's important. So I talk about that. Okay, let's see. Think about tomorrow. That's super important. Now, a lot of these things are intertwined and tied to the university. We have 12 habits. One of them is think about tomorrow today. So when you're thinking about tomorrow, what you're doing is you're not going to get sideswiped on like tomorrow comes and you're like, oh no, I forgot about this. And oh no, I forgot about that. And, you know, like, oh, like we act sometimes like we're, you know, like the victim, you know, like, oh, I can't believe what happened, or I can't believe she called me, or oh, I was on the phone for so long and this is what happened. When in reality, if we just look at our calendars and we just make the plans, all of that stuff doesn't happen. If we really want to take a look at what's going on, take the responsibility for our lives and say, oh, all right, well, tomorrow I have to pick up so-and-so from the doctor's office. I have to pick up my grandmother from the airport. I have to show up at school because it's my day for this, or I'm teaching children's church on Sunday. All of those things, if we could just think about them for tomorrow, we won't be sideswiped with that. We'll have, and then what I said, by put everything by the door, that's that If anything you need to leave with tomorrow, is it going to rain tomorrow? Are you going to need an umbrella? Are you going to be going crazy tomorrow looking for an umbrella but you knew it was going to rain tomorrow? See what I mean? So Karen, to answer your question, yeah, switch it all around, whatever works for you. And as you're doing it, you'll see, oh, this should go there, that should go there. And if you're faithful to this and you do it every day, it'll just be a week before you say, all right, here it is. And you'll be able to make it in a way that, you know, you can hang it up and see it on the regular and not have to change it around. Okay, Susan said, keep rolling. It would be great to address routines for teens, how to work through it with them. Maybe another time. My teen is half listening. Okay, so really, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You do a daily routine for them, just like you're doing it for you. Except you add things in there that's like, say, do schoolwork. If they have a specific job, like walk the dog, like Emily's routine, in her morning routine was walk the dog. She had to walk the dog and feed the dog. So like, that's what you do. And then you do, like I said, one of them in the bedroom, one of them in the kitchen. You could put it on the refrigerator, what do you call it, marker next to it with Velcro. If you have it in a picture frame, like I said, that we do, you can stick it right to the frame and beep, comes on and off. But yeah, I would definitely do a teen routine if anybody wanted me to, special. I have written it out on paper. Okay, I'm writing it out. I got it all written down, tweaking the routine. Melanie said, actually just finished. Excellent. And that was at 2:46. So that was 15 minutes ago. All right. So I think that, yeah, I'm retired and single. So no schedule except what I make and have not, but no one to do anything besides me. All right. Janine, whether or not you don't have to, like, you know, you're retired or not, you still want to schedule. You want to be in charge of your life. You don't want every day to go by and then you wish that you got to this, you got to that. What happened to my day? So this is going to turn it all around for you. You're going to love it. Andrea said, I don't know if it's a right brain person. I can confirm. It feels like petting a cat the wrong way to me. I don't know if as a right brain person, I can confirm. It feels like, okay. Michelle said, generally, you know, everybody isn't, there's lots of left brain that's hooked up in me, but I'm predominantly right brained. And if you just feel like you're a little more scattered, it's more difficult for you to break things down. You feel a little bit overwhelmed where there's other friends that you have that just could come in a room and bam, 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 they got it, right? But remember, you have qualities that they don't have, and there's things that you do that they can't do. The thing is, though, is that what we could do, it isn't so visually seen, like keeping the house in order and having the schedule, being on time for things. That's something that's in your face 24/7. Christelle said, please, Kathy, how long does this phase last for you, for example? 1 hour, 30 minutes? All right, you have to explain a little bit. Hopefully you're still here, because I don't know what you mean. What phase?
Actually, Kathy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Actually, what I was meaning by that is how long does phase one in the morning take in, let's say in timing? Is it 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15
okay.
minutes? Then phase two
it really will
in the
depend.
morning.
The phase one, I've never actually really timed it, but it doesn't last very long. Say, if you do it like a boom, boom, boom thing, before you get to like the phase two, it all depends on how long you shower. You know, like some people stand in the shower forever, but if you're kind of like just moving along with that, then from the time I wake up in the morning, which is about 6 a.m., right? From 6 a.m. until 10 a.m., that's, I do my phase 1 and 2, but I take a lot of time with my, what's it called, with my like spiritual thing. Like I'll take 45 minutes with meditation. So like, that's why it takes so long. Jen, can you say, I know that you have a strict time to get started. Can you say around, like, I'd say the first one is about, you could finish your phase 1 and phase 2 in about an hour. That's what I would say.
Honestly, for me, it just depends what time I wake up, and I can stretch it out, which means I sit longer, and you know, but sometimes I do food prep and I do things. So it really depends on you and how long it takes you to do things. I mean, I can do my phase 1, just I make my bed as soon as my feet hit the floor, and it takes 30 seconds, and I put all my stuff away, take my medication. Like I can do it in 10 minutes. And it really, really depends on you and what time you need to get started on the next part of your day and how many things you need to put in there if you have dogs, kids,
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Right,
It
right.
really varies.
What you want to do is just like hit the floor running tomorrow, hit the floor running and just do it like you're getting paid to do it. And then you'll see, you'll get into a groove, and it's going to take a little longer in the beginning than it will down the road, because there's probably going to be things you have to pick up, things you have to fix, things you have to get into place, things you have to find, so once you get, so don't get discouraged if you're like, oh my God, this is taking forever. Once you get in the groove, it isn't going to take as long anymore. So there's that. Okay.
Also, I talk about counting Mississippi so people see how short a time it actually is.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So Jen just reminded me about the counting Mississippi's thing. Do that with each thing that you're doing. Like, maybe not showering, but like when you're getting your clothes in the dryer, doing your bathroom swish, getting dressed, doing your hair, like things, most of the things that you're going to want to do count Mississippi's for. And Christelle, I know you're in TTU, so you've got this. Are the things that you think are going to take too long, the things that you think, the things that you always put off, or you think, I can't get to that, I can't do that, I'll do it later. The things that you say, I'll do it later. Those are the things. So you'll say 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, so that you'll see it took 10 seconds. Putting the dishes away took 20 seconds, took 30 seconds. See what I mean? So that'll make all the difference. Did that help? Okay, let's see.
Thank you, Katia. Actually, what is difficult for me now is that I'm working from home, because before all these coronavirus things, my morning routine was like I was going bam, bam, bam. It was very clear. But now it's much, much more difficult for me, actually.
Right, because you have your kids at home, right? You're working from home, your kids are at home. So you just have to adjust and give yourself the grace to make things go a little bit longer. You have an opportunity now to be with your children in a way that you haven't before, and it's happening whether we like it or not. So enjoy the journey, give yourself the time that you need. And like, I used to play quiet as a mouse time with my kids, so that they, instead of me saying shut up all the time, I would say it's quiet as a mouse time. And they knew that as soon as quiet as a mouse time was over, they had my attention. So how old are your children?
They are 6 and 2.
All right, 6 and 2. So the 2-year-old, it's a little tougher. I grant you that. The 6-year-old, definitely. You talk to him about quiet as a mouse time. When you say it's quiet as a mouse time, it means that you need to be left alone. Don't talk to me. Don't ask me any questions other than an emergency. I actually have a whole video on this, so I'll just send it to you, the quiet as a mouse time thing. The 2-year-old, yeah, you got some, if you can maybe get, oh yeah, you probably can't get somebody in there now because we're in quarantine, so it's not like something, but on the regular, if this wasn't the circumstances that we had, if you could have somebody come in for a few hours and be there with them so that you had that time to like say, too bad, then, that would be good. But just break it up into pieces. Put everything out that you need to do for work. Everything out that you need to do for home. Get your home shit done first. Sorry about my mouth. Get your home stuff done first. A lot of times, especially when we work from home and we have pressing things that we have to do, we will throw the baby out with the bathwater and we'll say, we have to get to this. I have these emails, or I have this project, or I have this thing due. Organized people, they don't do that. They do take care of first things first. They get themselves ready. They get their day ready. They get their house tidy. They get everything in order. Then they get started. So make sure that you do that, because it's going to feel like it doesn't matter until it all unravels. So please, please, please make sure you do that. Do it for long enough so that you see, oh my gosh, she's right. All right. A lot of the stuff that I'm telling you, it's going to feel counterintuitive, like that can't be right. I'm asking you to trust me on some of these things, and that you will say, all right, Kathy says this, I'm just going to try it. Like Jen has said that to me a few times. Like I am so happy that I just got all that done. I didn't sit down at my computer right away and just get going, because you end up behind the 8 ball. Whereas doing it the other way, you're in charge of it. You're in charge of your day. So, do that. Sometimes I get a little emotional, and I hate when I sound like I'm starting to yell at people. I really don't mean it. All right,
I just want to add to that don't feel like you need to be perfect. It's taken me a long time to get to the point where every single day I'm dressed before I sit down on my computer. And I had to do this thing where, okay, I'm just going to aim for 3 days a week. And Kathy knows this. I'd be like, okay, my goal for the week is to be dressed and showered and hairbrushed and everything in front of my computer at 9:30, 3 days, and then moving it forward. So now that I don't sit down in front of my computer, unless I'm intentionally doing it with my dragon onesies for a joke, I don't sit down in front of my computer. You wouldn't go to work, in your jammies, but I would do it all the time because I would think I need to get ahead with this. But it's so important that you give yourself a break to learn all these things because we're all going through something new and different, and we're changing our routines, and you will not be perfect at it. But just give yourself, here's what I'd like to work towards. I didn't make my bed every day, and now I wouldn't, if my bed's not made, I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened to me? But you're not going to be like that at first. You're changing everything about your routine.
Right.
It won't be perfect off the bat. Like Kathy said, just give yourself a grace and just aim for, okay, I'm going to get 50% of my routine or 80 or 90. And then eventually you'll get 100% of it done. And then you can add things onto it, but you're not going to be perfect. And do not beat yourself up over it. It is brand new for all of us.
Yes, thank you so much. That was excellent. Something else too, I want to make sure that I say is don't add the things that I have on there that are like, if this daily routine that you're doing now is new, or you struggle with a daily routine, then use the bare minimums, please. Like, don't put in, if you don't exercise now, don't add exercise. If you don't do a morning ritual, don't add the morning ritual now. If like there's anything that is outside of the absolute necessity, do that first. All right, do what is absolutely necessary first. Anything that's outside of the necessity, take it out. All right. Now thinking about tomorrow, it's necessary. Washing your face and moisturize. That might sound like it's not necessary. It is necessary. When I first started doing this, I thought, what the heck I was doing for myself. Women generally don't take care of themselves. We take care of ourselves last. And it's really important that we do that. So I would say if you're going to say, well, you know what, I'm going to start exercising now. Not now. Do this first. Make sure you get this done first. Okay. I have very little in here that is not absolutely necessary. Morning ritual is probably the only one, probably. And I don't know if somebody could see another one that I missed, but just to make sure that you don't add anything that isn't absolutely necessary, because you'll be sabotaging yourself. We don't want to do that. And exactly what Jen said, go easy on yourself and know that it's not going to be perfect. You don't care about perfect. You care about happy. You have a job to do. You have work. You have certain things that have to be handed in or accounted for or whatever. Get those things written out so that you see them. Make yourself a schedule for that. And then, give yourself the break to like be a mommy, because it's a full-time job being a mommy. So you got 2 full-time jobs going on right now. Take it easy. You don't care about perfect. One of the things about keeping the house clean during this time is that you just have to remember the habit of do it now. It's so easy to say, I'll get to that later. So if you're making something to eat, clean it up right away. We have this false belief that we can't get to it. It's going to take too long. Like Jan was saying before about the Count Mississippi thing. Make sure you do that, because that's why we're always behind with everything, because we don't do it now and we think it takes too long. So there's so many people out there in the world that live with a lot of pressure, a lot of things on their plates, and their houses stay clean. It's just because they have good habits. That's it, really. It's not anything more than that. It's just good habits. But we know you have a 2-year-old. You have little kids. There's going to be toys on the floor. Who cares? That's not part of the mess. That's life. So you have a time where you pick up and you train them. This is what we do. It's pickup time, whatever it is, right? Because there's lots of kids out there that they've been trained. This is what we do. We don't take out 2 things, but it's a job. It's work. So that's, it's part of your job of living life. So, take it easy on yourself. There's that. Okay. Okay, let's see. For those not in TTU, can you quick answer, what is a bathroom swish? Yes, a bathroom swish is, I actually have a video on this too that I could share with you. It's what you do immediately when you get done with the shower. You're done with the shower. I have a spray bottle that I keep in my bathroom, spray bottle and a rag, a wash rag, right? And I actually use this. I have it here because I was talking to my sisters. I use Thieves, it's called. It's from Young Living. It's essential oils. It's really, really great shit. Sorry about my mouth. So I keep a spray bottle with stuff that I use to clean, and I happen to use that, and baking soda and a wash rag. So I'm done showering. I spray the the sides of the tub, I wash them down, I get out, I spray the tub, I wash it down, throw some baking soda down on it, do that, throw some in the toilet with some vinegar, do that, bing, bing, bing. And while the water's heating up, because it takes my water a long time to heat up, I've already sprayed the countertop and the mirror. And it takes under 3 minutes to do that. And what happens is you have a self-cleaning bathroom. Bathroom always stays clean, and all I have to do once a week is wash the floor. I mean, every so often I will like throw the rag down on the floor and use my foot to give it like a little like horse bath, as we used to call it. God help me and my mother. Sorry about that. Anybody who feels insulted about that, I don't know where it came from, but that's what we used to say. I don't know. Anyway, to wipe it down, right? Otherwise, once a week. If you have little boys, then you have to do around the toilet a little bit more often on the floor. Okay. Phase 2, morning. This is from Joan. Phase 2, morning, make coffee. Move to phase 1, evening. Put on timer for morning, so we will have coffee when we get to the kitchen. Cool. That's great. Andrea said, I'm sitting with coffee. Yay. Christelle said, I noticed sitting is in phase 2. Actually, I usually sit in phase 1, but then it is harder to continue with the rest of things. Is that on purpose? All right. Let me see if I can understand what you mean. So this is just what works for me. I don't sit in phase 1. Phase 1, I get myself ready. I get in the shower, I get myself ready, I'm completely done. Then I leave. And after I make my coffee, and I sit down, I have my calendar in front of me, I take a look and see what this week is. You know, it's like a little tiny mini time to ground before I start moving on with the rest of the day. I don't sit down after dinner until I'm done, because I know me, and when I sit down, I ain't getting back up again. So when you see on my routine where it says think about dinner, when I think about dinner, when I think about tomorrow, I actually do that in the morning. Now, I don't have it written down in my morning routine, but it's in my head. I know it all throughout the day. So because I know by the time the end of the day comes, I'm spent, I'm done, I don't want to do anything anymore. So when I'm taking clothes out of the dryer, I'll think to myself, what will I wear tomorrow? Is there anything in here that I'll wear tomorrow? When I'm putting clothes away, I'll think, is there anything in here that I'll wear tomorrow? And I'll take them out. If I need to, because I use a towel and I use it for like 3 or 4 days and then I wash it again. Do I need to wash my towel? Do I need to switch out my towel? That kind of thing. Anything that if during the day, if I get an email that I have to do something, it has to do with tomorrow, then what I do is, excuse me 1 second, I have to plug in. Then what I do is I'll take care of that in the middle of the day if it's right there in my face, and that's part of preparing for tomorrow, because I don't want to do it all at the end of the day, but I have that kind of like that privilege to be able to do that because I'm home. So it all depends on how you tick and how you work, that kind of thing, right? All right, so there was that. Stop share. I'm going to look again at the questions. All right, so Karen said, yes, Christelle, that sitting with coffee, tea can throw me off too, because I start checking my phone or making calls.
To my knowledge, there's only 3.
Okay, so, all right, but you've got to figure it out, right? Just figure it out, because you need to be able to sit down before you go on with the rest of your day. Like, even if, I guess maybe you don't have to, I might be like just injecting my own something in there. So I guess I've never thought of it that way. So I guess just figure it out. All right. If you're going to have breakfast, you're going to want to sit down for that, right? If you're going to have a cup of coffee, it's kind of nice to sit down for that, right? Our digestion doesn't work really well when we're on the go. We start to churn in there. So it's a good idea if you are going to eat to sit down. And so that's what I do. But if it doesn't work for you, then don't do it. All right? Don't do it. You don't have to. Okay? So there's that. But as far as what Michelle said, where she said, I started routine. You said something about, was it Michelle? No, it was Karen. That you start looking at your phone. You got to be your own mommy, like to the nines. Like you really have to be. Your phone is your enemy until your morning routine is done. Originally, one of the habits were that you didn't do your morning routine. I mean, you didn't leave the house until your morning routine is over. Now, one of the habits is that you want to incorporate is you don't look at your phone until your morning routine is over. Morning routine is equal to leaving your house. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm just going to share one little thing, because I think we've got I think we've done this, all right? And now if you need another session, let me know. I'll be happy to do that. You want to make sure that you have everything that you've written down and you have it together. I'm going to read some more questions, but before I do, I just want to offer you this opportunity to be a part of Tidy Tutor University. And I have this, you know, great little special thing happening. So here is my screen. All right, so here's the link, and I'll put it inside of the chat. And if you use TTU50, then that means that you're going to get it for 50% off. Okay. I don't know how long I'm going to offer that, but I'm offering it. And then also you get Tidy Tutor Insiders, which is my monthly support because you need it. Otherwise the course will just sit on your computer and you just won't go to it. You need, like, you see all that we did now. This was an hour and a half just for the daily routine. Now you're not going to have to go through this for when you take the course because it's broken up. But you know, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, right? So I'll put that in the chat. And if anybody has any questions about what you get, anything about Tidy Tutor University and my ongoing support, then just ask me in the chat and I'll answer it, okay? Right now I will put the link in the chat if you want to move ahead with this and really get control of your life, because it's a great thing. All right, so now I have to find where the screen share is thing. Where'd it go?
Hey, Kathy,
Yes.
this is Kathy Brown. I don't mean to interrupt, but this is the first time I've used Zoom. So I got here late because of something happened at the door. But did you guys just, I'm an alumnus of TTU, so did you go over your daily routine today?
Yes.
Okay.
We went over the daily routine. Yes, we did.
Oh, okay, because I just missed I got here about 15 minutes ago and I missed all the rest, but hello, fellow TTUer, Tidy Tutors people. But,
Hi. So nice to see you.
yeah, I don't know why I'm not showing up, but oh well.
All right. Well, you're probably there and we just can't see you because there's a whole bunch of us in here.
Okay.
So,
all right. But anyway, I know what you've been doing then. You've gone through the daily routine. And so that's fine then. I can pick it up.
yes. And I'll put, if this is recorded, I'll send you the recording.
Oh, excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
So, so you'll get that.
Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. What if already enrolled in TTU? If you already are enrolled in TTU, but you're not part of the insiders, then you don't pay the enrollment fee of $99. Now, what the $99, because that's what you get now, is half price. Normally, it's $197, which most of you know. But what that gives you, that $197, which now is $99, is it gets you Tidy Tutor University, the course, all 4 sessions, everything you need. That's what it gives you, and you have it for a lifetime. And then after that, after the first month, for $29 a month, you get my help, and I could tell you everything that you get with that. It's pretty impressive. If you have already enrolled in Tidy Tutor University and you want to be an insider again, you don't need to register again. Just let me know, and I'll send you the link for insiders, and you just $29 a month. You cancel any time. And sorry about that. And of course, insiders, you would cancel any time anyway. So if you signed up for Tidy Tutor University for $99 with the half price coupon, and you got insiders for free for the first month, and you said to yourself, I don't want to do that anymore, then just cancel it. You can cancel it yourself. You don't need to ask me. It's in your account. You just cancel it. But if you like it, and which I think that you will, we all need help. We all need support. We all need each other. It's a wonderful thing. Then you could do it for 2 months. You could do it for 3 months. You could do it for a year. There's many, many people that have told me that they're lifers because it's a great thing. It really is. It's a nice thing. We stay together. Okay, but you don't have to. 6 months, 3 months until you graduate, go for it, you know? All right, let's see. Jan said, thank you so much, Kathy. My daughter and her boyfriend are listening to you too. Oh, that's great. Oh, that makes me so happy. Let's see. Anybody have any more questions? You can unmute yourself and interrupt me. Okay, so Michelle said, yes, I started a routine with my teens last week. I let them sleep till 11, then we get started. I typed it up in Word, then printed it out for them to reference in the kitchen. Also, I had them set alarms on their phones and tell them what to do, that tells them what to do and when. It's working so far. Yeah, it really is it's like a game changer. You don't have to nag. They say, can I do this, Mom? You say, sure, as soon as you get done with your routine. You don't have to tell them no, ever.
Also, I have another question. How do you create a routine for like a ADHD small child?
That's what we all are. We all are that. I've done this for Asperger's patients. It works. This is great. I have something I'm going to send you because my daughter Emily did something for her kids. So I'll send you that link. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's beautiful. Elizabeth said, I have totally let myself go the last couple of years. I need to make taking care of myself a necessity and a habit again. Thanks for talking about this, Kathy. You're welcome. All right, Jan said, Elizabeth, that was me up until I met Kathy, doing everything for everyone but me. Now I can actually do more than everyone else now. I take care of me first. You know, Jan, in the beginning, she was like, I don't see how, you know, this is really going to work. And then she finally dug in and she said, oh my God, because I say we have a self-cleaning house. And she Christmas time, she said, I see exactly what you mean now about a self-cleaning house. This is crazy. So really, it's nice. It's nice. All right. Elizabeth said, thank you, Jan. That's so encouraging. Right now, I do it, but leaving it to last means never, because time runs out of the day. Your time will not run out of the day when you do this. You won't believe how much time you have. You're going to wonder what the heck you were doing before. Really, you will. Therese said, yes, thank you, Jen. That's encouraging. Thank you. You're wonderful. So glad to be on with you and feel motivated to get back on. I find that often I'm in need of adult supervision. Yes, that's Catherine. You know, I belong to other groups. I belong to groups too because I want to be connected to these people. There's certain groups that I belong to that just make me feel good. You know, so if it's about money and it's like, well, how much is that? All right, there's one night a week I'm not going to go out to eat. There's one morning that I'm not going to have breakfast out. So and that takes care of it. Or there's one bottle of wine I'm not going to get, which I probably do without. You know, that kind of thing. All right. So yeah, I agree. All right. Let's see. Next time I'll have somebody read my questions for me. Catherine and Neen and Shirley. That's what I have Kathy for. That was Jan. That's what I have Kathy for. Yeah. Thanks, Jan. All right. Thank you, Kathy. What if I already enrolled in TTU? Then I'll give you a link and you can sign up to Insider. Is that a coupon for insiders? Insiders? No, it's not a coupon for insiders. Elizabeth Blood, that's a coupon for anybody that has never had Tidy Tutor University. If you've had Tidy Tutor University, you've paid $197 for Tidy Tutor University. I'm giving a coupon to anybody who wants to enroll now for a half price. And if you go to my testimonials on the tidytutor.com, you know, some of them seems like I paid people to say it. Okay, Elizabeth, and that's one of the reasons that Kathy is such a blessing, reminding us to be our own mommy. Is this recorded later? Yes. Thank you so much, Kathy, daughter. Okay, got that. All right, I put anybody need the link again? I'll send it in an email. It will expire eventually, so don't wait.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi,
It's Christy again.
Okay.
Okay, so I have several conditions like fibromyalgia, also special needs child. Also myself have special needs, and getting the house clean is like very hard. But I have to go outside to do the laundry and carrying it. And what would you suggest? I know you suggested to go out twice a week, but sometimes that's even hard for me.
Well, if you can try to get someone to help. Try to get someone to help. And when you first get started, it's going to take longer. I call it building your house in the rain. It's harder in the beginning, but everything is when we first get started with it. If you're getting yourself physically fit in the beginning, it's a real painful situation, but we never give that meaning of it bad. We don't say, oh my God, this is bad, I can't do this. We say, we understand that this is the process. So just stick with it in the beginning. Once you get the house streamlined, it is easy and it stays that way. As far as doing carrying the laundry and stuff, get help. You know, join the church. They're the greatest places. You can give any way you can at the church, and then you can ask for help. You know, if you can afford it, you can get somebody in to help you. So that would be really, really good. But, you know, there's lots of people, and I know them, that have special needs, live with pain, have have children that have special needs, and they're able to keep it together. And I'm not saying that their pain goes away. It doesn't. Of course it doesn't. But life is easier. It's not easier in the beginning, though. It does take time. You have to give yourself that grace and that time that you need. And most of it is you being your own.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep on looking at the questions. I relate to the right brain. I don't know how to be a left brain person. You don't want to be a left brain person. It's unnatural to me. I love to listen to Kathy talk. I don't want to be left brain. I like being right brain. I just want to control things the way I want to live my life so that it's good and not a pain in the neck. And we learn that as we go. But if we never knew it, how could we fix it? Okay, so Janine had to take off. This is Elizabeth. I never tried insiders with my TTU membership because I wasn't on Facebook. You don't have to be on Facebook. We meet twice a month, just like this, we meet. And if you have any questions that you want me to address, I'll address them. I address them in our twice a month calls. Facebook is a plus, let's face it, it is a plus because I have every Monday, I have a Q&A time that I answer questions in there. You don't have to be a part of Facebook, but somebody just, Shirley did. Shirley didn't want to have anything to do with Facebook, but she wanted to be part of the group. So she made a fictitious account. Nobody knows about it or her on there. And she just participates in that group. So you could do that. Neen said, yes, I am clinical RD. I'm stressed at the hospital with COVID. House makes me more stressed, but feel motivated. I'm off today. I want to be productive at home. We'll start TTU tonight, I think. How often do you meet online like this on Zoom? Thanks in advance. All right, that's marvelous, Janine. We meet every other Tuesday and one Sunday a month. All right, so every other Tuesday, so it's 3 times. And the times change to accommodate other people in the world. And all of our recordings that we do, all of our meetings that we do, they're very concentrated, and I put them in categories so that you can see. So if you're saying, I need some motivation, I need to know what to do because I feel like I'm in crisis, I need to have a little bit more clarity about a 32 to university topic. All of the recordings that we do in our meetings, I have categorized. So you can go into our membership area, you can click on it and just grab the one you want and kind of listen to it like a podcast. So there's that. And you start 32 to university on your own. But when you get in there, I tell you immediately, here's how you start. Here's what to do. Here's your first step. Yeah, Janine, I'm really happy about that you're going to be part. I live with a hoarder. When I'm out of the house, he suddenly brings newspapers and the like. How can I deal with these? This happens. Eventually, they come around. I've never seen it when they didn't. I know it's really hard. I know it's really hard. But what I teach is, first we have to take care of our side of the street. We can't be an example. We can't delegate. There's nothing we can do until our side of the street is taken care of. There's plenty that we can do all on our own about us before we even have to think about them. And eventually they do come around. So, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you can't tackle everything at once. But feeling like you're in control and you know what you're doing is just, it's such a freeing experience. All right, Olga said, I know many men that also struggle with this. It would be nice if you can use examples and regencies to help them. Yes, I know. I don't speak to men generally because I'm not a man, but I have had men inside of TTU, only 2, I think it's been, that have been part of it. But they're welcome. They're welcome as well. I guess I could do a little course strictly for men. I don't know how necessary that would be. Elizabeth said, would be great to have another one of these. So helpful. Thank you so much, Kathy. Great to be with everyone. Something else we do inside of Insiders is we do workshops periodically as well. So there's that. All right. So if everybody's good, I could sign out now. If anybody wants me to answer any more questions about 32 to university, show them what it looks like on the inside of that, whatever, just let me know.
I have one more question.
Okay.
For the Tidy Tutor, you will send the link to us who never had it before?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm learning because I have another thought too, because I'm like a person that never really learned how to be tidy, but I'm not lazy. Although I have the fibromyalgia, I do stuff all the time. But like having ADHD myself, it's like very hard to remember to put things back. I guess that's
completely
one
get
of
it,
my
and that's,
stumbling blocks.
it's who I speak to. I am that person. It's who I speak to. So it's very different than anything that you've probably ever learned before because of the way it goes. It goes thinking the way we tick. Audrey said,
Okay.
Christy, you're in the right
Appreciate
place.
it.
Stay with us. Thank you, Audrey. God bless you. Aloha, y'all. Okay, that was from Catherine. Okay, so we're all good? I'll sign out now. All right, God bless everybody.
Thanks,
What?
yeah. Bye, everyone.
Oh, that was just a goodbye? All right.
Yeah, just a goodbye. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Let me know how you do, okay? Let me know how you do with this.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.